Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. In previous lecture, we studied about systems with the variable number of particles, and we studied two types of system. The first system was composed of two compartments, A and B, which were separated by a semi-permeable wall, which can allow some of the particles to exchange between the two systems. Whereas the second system was a system of a sealed vessel, which contains different atoms which can react to form products. So that was the system of reacting gases. And then we recall some of the conditions for different types of equilibriums, and we learned that we recall the condition for thermal equilibrium, that if there are two subsystems A and B, and both these systems are if not in thermal equilibrium, then we know that that the energy will flow from a system at higher temperature to the one which is at lower temperature, and this will continue until the temperature of both compartments will become equal, and this is the condition for the thermal equilibrium. And similarly, for the case of mechanical equilibrium, we know that the volume will expand from a system at higher pressure to the system at lower pressure, and this will continue until the pressure of both sides will become equal. It means that this system has the which is at lower pressure has the ability to take volume. So when the pressures are equal, the system is said to be in mechanical equilibrium. Whereas the third system is the system with variable number of particles, and we know that the particles, since it is separated by a semi-permeable wall, the particles can be exchanged between these two subsystems. And we learned that the particles flow from a system at higher chemical potential to the system at lower chemical potential, and this continues until the chemical potentials of both sides becomes equal, and this is the condition for the chemical equilibrium. So we learned the importance of chemical equilibrium, which is that it tells us the direction of mass transfer. That is, if mu A is greater than mu B, it means that the particles will move from a system A and they will go towards the system B. And similarly, we can repeat the calculations that we did in last lecture, and we can attain this result for the case of reacting gases, that if mu C plus mu D, that is the chemical potential of the reacting atoms, if it is greater than the chemical potential of the products, then the reaction will proceed to form products. Whereas on the other way around, if the chemical potential of the product of the molecule is greater than that of the chemical potential of the reactants, then in this case the reaction will go the other way around. The chemical potential can be calculated from the knowledge of Gibbs free energy, and Gibbs free energy is a quantity which can be measured experimentally. You know that the Gibbs free energy is defined as H minus Ts, where H is the enthalpy, which is defined as U plus PV, where P is the mechanical work done. So this will become U plus PV minus TdS. So a small change in the free energy will be equals to du plus pdv plus vdp minus tds minus std, where we know that the du will be equal to, from the first law of thermodynamics, tds minus pdv plus mu dn. This quantity comes whenever you allow the exchange of particles, then you will have this term as well in the internal energy of the system. So substituting this equation into the previous one, we will get dg is equals to vdp minus sdp plus mu dn, and we know that Gibbs free energy is defined at constant pressure and at a certain temperature T. So at constant pressure and temperature, this equation will give you mu is equals to partial G by partial N. It means that the Gibbs free energy is directly proportional to the number of particles, and the proportionality constant is equals to mu. So if we integrate this term, we will get G is equals to mu n, or mu is equals to G by N. That is, the chemical potential is the Gibbs free energy per particle. That is, if we have a certain container in which we have N1 and N2 different number of particles, and if you add a small number of N1 particles to this system, so there will be a small change in the Gibbs free energy of the system. So this proportionality constant is the chemical potential in this case. So chemical potential is defined as the partial derivative of Gibbs free energy with respect to number of particles which are added to the system. So partial G by partial N1 at constant temperature, pressure, and the second number of particles which are N2, which are kept fixed. Now let's discuss the methods of calculating the chemical potential. So there are two main methods by which we can calculate the chemical potential. The first method can be used for systems which are thermally isolated. The second method can be used for systems which are in contact with the heat bath. That is, the first method is for the microcanonical ensemble, whereas the second method where the system is in contact with the heat bath is for the canonical ensemble. And we know that for the case of the microcanonical ensemble, the chemical potential is defined as mu is equals to minus T partial S by partial N at constant energy and volume, and S is from Boltzmann law is equals to Kb log of W. So substituting the value of S, chemical potential will be equal to minus Kbt partial log of W by partial N at constant internal energy and volume. That is, you can find the chemical potential simply by calculating the W. Similarly, by second method, you can also calculate the chemical potential mu for systems which are in contact with the heat bath. And in this case, the chemical potential is defined as mu is equals to partial F by partial N at constant volume and temperature. We know that free energy is equal to minus Kbt log of Z, and that will, so this expression after putting the value of F will be equal to minus Kbt partial log of Z by partial N at constant volume and temperature. That is, you can find out the chemical potential just by calculating the log of Z and solving this equation. So you can also have an idea that how we can reach this expression. We know that the free energy is defined for a system at constant volume at a certain temperature T, which is given by F is equals to U minus Ts, and U is the internal energy, which is equals to, so for any change in free energy will be equal to dU minus Tds minus Std, whereas the change in the internal energy of the system will be equal to Tds minus Td Pdv plus mu dn, if where mu dn is a term which comes into the picture if we allow the number of particles to vary. So solving, putting this value in previous equation and solving, we are left with minus Pdv minus Sdt plus mu dn. So for at constant volume and temperature, the chemical potential will be equal to partial F by partial N. So by both of these methods, we can calculate the chemical potential depending upon we are discussing about the microcanonical ensemble or the canonical ensemble. So now let's discuss the first example related to the microcanonical case. That is, consider a spinless gas of n atoms which are non-interacting, and assume that the expression for such a gas of entropy for such a gas in microcanonical ensemble is equals to this expression. So we are asked to calculate the chemical potential of the system. So as we discussed that for the microcanonical ensemble, the chemical potential is defined as mu is equals to minus T partial S by partial N. So substitute the value of S here and just take it derivative with respect to N. We will have minus KBT into this term. So it means that we can take the derivative of this term, and then plus we can take the derivative of the second term, which is this. Similarly, last equation will lead to this equation number 1, and you can also find out the temperature of the system simply by using this expression partial S by partial U at constant V and N, and then you will have 3 by 2 N Kb divided by U, and you will from here you will have U is equals to 3 by 2 N kBT. So substituting this value of U in equation 1, and you will ultimately reach this expression of chemical potential, which is equals to kBT log of N over NQ, where N is the number of particles per unit volume, and NQ is known as the quantum density and is equals to 1 over lambda d cube, which is the density which corresponds to one particle in a volume lambda d cube, and is equals to mkBT divided by 2 pi h cut square. So you can also think of NQ as the particle concentration of a system where the inter-particle distance is equals to the thermal de Broglie's wavelength, since it depends on temperature. So moreover, if there is a spin degeneracy of G for all particles, this NQ will be multiplied by with the factor of G. So here I will define NQ is equals to NQ prime, which is known as the quantum density. So the chemical potential in this case will be equals to kBT log of N over NQ prime. That is, the spin degeneracy will increase the quantum density, but it will decrease the chemical potential of the system. Thank you.